If you are focusing on DEI, you are just doing scab work. And you should be ashamed of yourself, frankly. Repent.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Boss Watch is a segment that we try to do every week where we take a look at what bosses in the southern United States and the American colonies were up to. It's a mirror to last week in Southern labor. And the way that we've been compiling this segment over the years has been pretty simple. We've checked federal agencies tasked with enforcing worker protection laws and included their press releases about instances where they have begun or concluded enforcement actions against law-violating employers. Agencies like the Department of Labor, DOL, and divisions within it, like the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, the Mine Safety and Health Administration, MSHA, the Wage and Hour Division, WHD, as well as other agencies like the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and others. We've occasionally included stories from the news, but in our experience, the news has rarely captured instances of this sort before the government enforcement agencies have. So we're going to continue to try to do this, but I just want to note that it's possible this will no longer be a viable way of doing this project in particular in the Trump era. Before the show last week, the Department of Labor announced that they were ceasing and desisting all enforcement related to Executive Order 11246, which Donald Trump rescinded. That EO, which was in place since the 1960s, instituted first by LBJ, included reporting requirements that helped the DOL identify potential episodes of discrimination. Since that release, there have been no announced enforcement actions, no new investigations, no new resolutions of cases. Typically, we saw 2 or 3 per week just from the DOL, just in the South, every single week. So obviously this is a concern. Of course, the entire EEOC is undoubtedly in Trump's crosshairs, and enforcement of other worker protection laws are likely to see decreased vigor. The only announcements from the EEOC since Trump's inauguration have been that the president appoints Andrea Lucas as EEOC acting chair, and a press release about removing gender ideology and restoring the EEOC's role of protecting women in the workplace. Ironically, there has been nothing since actually protecting women in the workplace, as was the case in the final press release of the Biden administration, where the EEOC brought a lawsuit against an Alabama employer for discriminating against women. That's interesting that despite restoring the EEOC's role of protecting women in the workplace, there have been no instances of protecting women in the workplace. And the very final act of the Biden EEOC was protecting Alabama women from a sexist employer. That's just interesting. Now, we did check, and we found a similar pause on press releases happened after 2017, when Trump came into office the first time, and they did not begin picking up until April or May. But even after that, enforcement actions were more limited than they were under Biden. So, not totally sure what we're going to do with this segment moving forward, but I want to say that we stand in solidarity with the civil servants whose jobs and missions are under attack by the Trump administration and who are trying to weather the storm to continue serving the American worker. We unironically and wholeheartedly thank you for your service. The law enforcement officials at the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, the Mine Safety and Health Administration, the Department of Labor, the National Labor Relations Board, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and any other federal agency tasked with protecting the American people. We thank you so much for the work that you've done over the years, and we hope that you can continue serving the American public over the next 4 years.
Hey, 5 seconds, just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
Since we don't have anything definitive to report yet, I figured I would take a look at just one workplace safety incident that happened last week, and that was the collision of a plane and a helicopter last week at the DCA airport. We've already seen reporting coming out that the air traffic controller that was in charge at that time over that area was doing two jobs, was doing a job that should be done only by two people. Short staffing at the FAA has been a long reported thing. The New York Times reported last year airline close calls happen far more often than was previously known. So far this year, this was back in 2023, close calls involving commercial airlines have been happening on average multiple times a week, according to a Times analysis of internal FAA records, as well as thousands of pages of federal safety reports and interviews with more than 50 current and former pilots, air traffic controllers, and federal officials. One problem, this is still from the New York Times piece from last year, is that despite repeated recommendations from safety authorities, the vast majority of U.S. airports have not installed warning systems to help prevent collisions on runways. But the most acute challenge is the nation's air traffic control facilities are chronically understaffed. While the lack of controllers is no secret, the shortages are more severe and are leading to more dangerous situations than previously known. As of May, this is in 2023 or 2024 again, only 3 of the 313 air traffic facilities nationwide had enough controllers to meet targets set by the FAA and the union representing the controllers. The Times found that many controllers are required to work 6-day work weeks and a schedule so fatiguing that multiple federal agencies have warned it could impede controllers' ability to do their jobs properly. There's a lot more reporting on that, but that is what's going on. And this idea, this foolishness, and there's a guy in our chat saying, no, the attack on DEI is so airplane doors stay on at 30,000 feet and they stop crashing. That is just, frankly, just drivel. Pro-employer, pro-corporate drivel. There is absolutely no evidence that there have been decreased standards that led to anything like this, both at Boeing with the airplane doors and at the FAA with air traffic controllers. There has been consistent reporting about understaffing and about poor working conditions both at Boeing and at the FAA. So if you are, Mark, and I know you to be a union member, if you are, instead of attacking the employing agencies and these corporations who are keeping workers' pay low, who are keeping conditions poor, who are making it difficult to have a high quality of life in these positions, which is keeping people from wanting to be in these positions, if you are, instead of focusing your attacks on that, focusing on DEI, you are just doing scab work. And you should be ashamed of yourself, frankly. Repent. Finally, we'll wrap up with Union Busters. This segment of Boss Watch covers national updates. It is sponsored by Labor Lab. Labor Lab is an employer watchdog organization. They are committed to safeguarding the right to organize through union, collective bargaining, and mutual aid. They do this by combing through reports that union busters are required to file with the Department of Labor. Here is the new LM20 that was filed this week. Vistar in Livermore, California, hired LRI Consulting Services for $425 an hour. However, workers won their election 19-8, despite the high-paid union busting. In addition, the following LM20s were amended. LR Consultants amended their LM20 for S&S Activewear in Bolingbrook, Illinois, to include their compensation rate of $0 to $400 an hour. And the subcontractors of Labor Information Services, Jose Agraz and Cesar Lopez, amended their LM20s to add or change their compensation to $230 an hour for work at Merit Logistics in Tampa, Florida. Prior to becoming a union buster, Lopez was the human resources manager at National RV. He is from Mexico and is bilingual in English and Spanish.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free
to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.